Please don't spoil the movie.
By adding your own soundtrack. And we're live.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Please Don't Spoil the Movie.
Yes, starring Jordan.
And Jade. Oh, my goodness.
What's wrong? We're still getting used to our podcast voices.
Right. This is also new to us.
Yes. But, how are you today? How you doing?
I'm doing good. We just got off of extended vacation due to Hurricane Ida, so that was pretty interesting.
That was interesting.
What did you do during your evacuation?
Well, me and my boyfriend already planned a trip to visit his family, or his dad and his stepmom in Atlanta. So we were there when the hurricane hit, and we kind of got stuck there. Then we came back down because he had to go to work, so we had to go drive back to Baton Rouge. And we did all that jazz, but I basically stayed in Baton Rouge until Monday.
Yeah, I was worried about you guys, you know.
Were you?
Yeah, y'all are kind of long distance, and I was like, oh, all that time together, I don't know. This might make or break them, you know.
We did get into one fight, but we survived.
What was the root of the fight?
Because so we flew out of New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
so he had to come get his car, and we were gonna come check on the house, and he wanted to do that all the same day of the flight we got there. We landed
right.
Wednesday, and we didn't even get to Baton Rouge until like 4:00. So we would have got there earlier, but because we had to drive from Houston, and we would have got there earlier, but we stood in line for 2 hours to try to get gas. So I pushed us back, and I was like, I really don't want to. By the time we got to Baton Rouge, it was only 4:00. We said, hour drive to get to New Orleans, and we want to do all that. And I was like, I don't want to do all that.
Right.
And then we got an argument over that.
But y'all ended up not doing all of that.
No.
Right. So you won. That's all that matters.
I think it was very unreasonable for him to want to.
Right. That's a lot.
Yeah. What was the point? I mean, he was off the next day.
That's exhausting.
It was exhausting. I was like, I don't want to do all that.
Right.
I didn't want to, and it was a lot to figure out because with the rental, we weren't sure where we could bring it. Exactly, because at first we were supposed to bring it in Baton Rouge, but then they called us. Like, Enterprise was like, oh, because of the storm, y'all could just bring it wherever you can.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, New Orleans then, because technically to drop it off in New Orleans would have been more expensive.
Oh.
But since they gave us the go-ahead, we were like, okay, cool, we're going to try to do it. But we didn't know if we were going to be open or
right.
if we would be able to. So, I don't know, it was a whole lot of hoopla, but it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? How was your...
Well, I was living a life of luxury, I must say. So while you and your boyfriend planned y'all's trip to Atlanta, we had planned a trip to Orlando prior to the storm. And, once we got there, stuff was nice. We went to Universal for free, thanks to Dad's company. Free food in Universal. It was great. It's great. Sat by the pool, free drinks, and then the company realized that we were refugees, and then they extended our stay at the hotel for free. Because I think, when did we get there? We got there Saturday. Then the hurricane hit Sunday, and then they let us stay all the way till Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we stayed all the way till Friday.
Yeah, I was supposed to leave like Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah, and we're supposed to leave Tuesday. And then they let us do Universal again.
That was nice of them.
So yeah, we got to do Universal again for free, with free food. And then after Friday, when we were supposed to leave, Dad still didn't want to leave. So then he ended up getting us another hotel at another place, which I actually thought was nicer, because this place was actually like an apartment. It had more room. Because at the hotel that the company had put us up at, it was just, just 2 beds. But this, this had like separate rooms, a kitchen, a living room. And I was like, oh, I like this better because space. And then we were there till, when were we there till? I think Monday morning. And then we left out Monday morning.
I was supposed to ask you, did y'all run into any other refugees from New Orleans out there?
No, we didn't actually.
Yeah. Huh.
Actually, I was about to. Well, also, side note, what's going on in my life? I have something going on that I have yet been able to announce, that I am scratching in my boots to be able to announce. That hopefully that day will come soon. But while we were in Orlando, somebody who I knew, that is also affiliated with the situation that I'm waiting to announce, was out there in Orlando. So I linked up with him.
Oh, it's a guy. I thought it was a girl.
Oh no, it was a dude. So yeah. Okay, cool. We linked up together. We went to some place that had mimosas, and like it was bottomless food and bottomless mimosas.
I've never heard
never heard of.
Bottomless
And he's like,
food.
oh my god. First of all, he's like an Orlando junkie. Like he has like a year pass to like Universal.
Love it.
He goes like 3 times a year, so
Dude,
he knows all the
jealous.
spots. He's like, oh my god, I love this place. I come all the time. And he was like on a different level. Like he was ready to rage, and I was just like, oh my god, he was like, let's get another one, another mimosa, let's do a shot, another mimosa, another plate of
That's
food,
straight.
another box of hummus, and I was just like, oh my god. You're on like 97, I'm like 43, so I need you to find a happy medium. And then once we were done, he was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going home taking a nap, and he's like, okay, where are we going shopping? And I'm like, what? Like you want me to walk now? So then I actually went shopping with him, and then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy anything. I ended up buying like 6 different things. So he was a bad influence on
Can
me.
you tell me about this bottomless food? How does that work? I can order anything.
So
Or is it buffet?
yeah, it was the mimosas was like bottomless mimosas was like $26, and the bottomless food was like 35. And they do like smaller plates, so it's just like whatever's
So
on the menu.
I order it and I order another one,
Yeah.
and it comes out fast.
It was like small plates.
Oh, okay.
So.
Awesome. I'm into it. I like it.
Yeah.
It was brunch food.
It was like a Mexican restaurant, so it was like Mexican food,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't great because I was like, this is in New Orleans, so some of the food I was just like, ugh.
Gotcha.
But hey, so that was what we did for the hurricane. That was our evacuation situation.
Our
so.
evacuation vacation.
Right.
Bless.
It kind of reminded me a little bit. It took me back to like the beginning of quarantine. That's what it felt like.
like in a disarray, confusion.
But like, I don't have to do anything, and I'm really enjoying this.
Right. I had the same vibe, but my job was kind of stressing me out, annoying me. I knew I couldn't do anything about it. But
Are you talking about during quarantine or during the hurricane?
They didn't know me doing it when quarantine started. I was fresh. I was new to
Oh,
the
okay.
job, so I didn't know anything. But during this hurricane, they were kind of
Yeah.
stressing me out because I was like, okay, guys, I can't. I was already in Atlanta,
Right.
and I didn't bring my laptop. I didn't know how they were gonna handle the situation, and I didn't want them to be like, everyone figure it out, start work the next day.
Girl, who was that impression
Back to
of?
this for dirt. I was afraid they're gonna do that. They were chill, but they were they were kind of because work was not my focus at all.
Right.
It was just like, I'm in Atlanta. How long did it be in Atlanta? Not saying I didn't like it. I loved it. I left a lovely home. I just didn't want to overstay my welcome.
Oh, their house was nice?
Little suburbs of Atlanta.
I bet. You get nice bang for your buck in Atlanta.
Right. It was nice. It was a cute little place. But yeah. So that wasn't really about work. But besides that, it was cool.
Gnarly.
Gnarly. So, we're back with our second episode.
Yes, the hurricane could not stop us. We're back with our
Exactly.
second episode, our second review. And this go around, we're taking it way back.
I wanna say we are taking it way back. This I feel like is one of the movies that if we had to say a reason why we started this podcast, this would be at the top of the list. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
to
a
talk
movie
about like this movie
that we love and we grew up with.
that really
And we watch it.
that made us who we are.
Yeah, made us who we are. Honestly, when we first started this podcast, this was the movie that in my head we were gonna do. Number one was gonna be this one.
Right.
And I guess we'll just go ahead and say it. This episode we're talking about Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
Not to be confused with the messy
people
morning podcast.
Right. People be saying that the Breakfast Club is like so toxic. People like on
Yes.
Twitter, people always like, stop reading the Shade Room and don't listen to the Breakfast Club.
I was about to
I
say.
get the Shade Room. I feel like the Breakfast Club, the radio show, is just like any other radio show. They talk about, pop culture, they interview people. I don't see the mess there.
I think it depends on who's there. I think if they're interviewing a woman and Charlemagne the guy's in the building, he's saying something sexist.
Yeah, he's asking a wild question.
He's just trying to break people down.
Yeah.
And I don't think the other two are bad. I'm sorry, I don't know their names.
Angela Yee and I don't know the other guy's name.
Yeah, but I just think Charlemagne God is the name is problematic. I'm not into
Right.
it. I'm not even big on God stuff, but I'm really not into that name.
It's just like, why would you name yourself
Yeah,
that?
and I think they're I was literally about to compare them to the Shade Room. I was like,
Yeah.
I would consider them like the
Maybe I just haven't listened to enough episodes to really determine
oh. I
how.
haven't listened to a episode. I just watched clips of the Shade Room.
Right. You could just tell.
I just watched clips in the Shade Room. I mean, I guess it's not probably the worst, but I think when they have women on there, and I think if she is giving her opinion, someone's gonna say something
Yeah.
toxic.
He's there to ruffle a feather.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, but anywho, let's get back to the nitty gritty of the actual film, the original
Yes.
Breakfast Club,
So
the movie that transcended a generation.
right, one of probably the most popular movies of the '80s. I can't guarantee that, but I have to assume. When did Breakfast
Right.
Club come out?
So it came out in 1985. Okay, so back in 2018,
Mhm.
Marley Ringwald,
It
the girl
girl.
who plays Claire in the film, the princess,
It girl of the '80s.
the it girl of the 80s. She wrote an article. Was it the New York Times? I think it was the New Yorker. It wasn't the New York Times. And she first of all, she articulated herself very well. The article is very well written. I'm like, oh my god, are you a genius? But so in the article, she was just talking about how like during the 80s there was no like movies or TV shows that really talked about like high schoolers and teenagers and their experience. If it did, it was like PBS garbage, and it was like super corny, and like, this is how you build a lunchbox or something.
That's
Like,
so-
I don't know. And then
She said that she didn't have that growing up.
like she was just like up until like movies like 16 Candles and The
Okay,
Breakfast
yeah, I was
Club.
about to
Like,
say, I was
yeah, she was
when I
like up
think of that
until like
era,
movies like that started coming out, they didn't have anything about
Right.
teenagers.
and now they don't have anything like that.
And now they don't again. And she was just saying like it was just like John
Movie-wise. I guess
Hughes.
it's like that. Sorry, movie-wise. I guess they have a lot of shows about it, but they don't make any
Yeah,
music
they have a
anymore.
lot of shows. They don't do the movies anymore. But she was like, it was just like the first, like her and these movies were just like the first to really like dig
Mhm.
into the high school experience. So yeah. So
Do you have any facts? Should we hop
Right.
right into it? What do you want to do?
right, I got my facts and figures.
Yeah,
So, but for those of you who don't know what the movie is about, it's like a movie about 5 high school students. They're all from like different cliques, and they befriend each other during a Saturday detention session, with their like crazy principal like throughout the film, like coming in and out and like checking on them. So the movie premiered February 7th, 1985. In 2016, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry.
Oh, interesting. I
So
don't know
that's
what
a
the hell
huge
that is.
deal. Right. What
I'm not
does that
familiar.
mean?
I'm not
I don't
familiar.
really know. It's like a big deal though.
Yeah.
By the Library of like Congress, and it's considered to be like culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant.
Oh my god, we need to look at that list and see what's on
Re-
there.
yeah,
If
for
Mean
sure.
Girls not on there, it doesn't count.
Right. It doesn't. So I just had a stroke. The film received a critical acclaim, obviously. And do you want to guess the budget and then how much it
Yes.
made? Remember, it's the 80s.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna guess a budget. They're only in one main room the whole.
Right.
So I'm sure that's got to be gold. I'm gonna guess the budget. I'm really bad at this. $500,000. $1 million.
There you go.
$1 million.
$1 million.
I'm still not understanding how you could spend so much on a movie. I'm still not understanding the grass.
Yeah, because I feel like today there's movies that have budgets that are like 5.
Which I kind of get when it comes to paying these stars. I feel like they take up majority of the budget.
Yeah.
I get that part because I mean, what are they making? Like $1 million? Do they make $1 million for movies when they do these movies? I don't know.
Do they what?
These stars,
Oh, they make millions of dollars.
right? So to me, I guess that's where all the budget's going. But then you have to pay for everybody else, and they make good freaking money too.
Right, the crew, and then you have to pay for
production,
right, the
producers,
sets.
I don't know, yeah,
right, and the permits
outfits,
and whatnot.
You gotta ship everybody out, ship everybody in.
Right, all that.
Doctors, I'm sure. Anyway, sorry. Okay, and I want to guess how much they made.
It earned at the box office.
$59 million.
Oh my God, you're not far off. I'm shocked.
How much?
You don't want to guess again?
Oh, okay. Okay, 65.
Go down.
Oh, 50.
51.5 million.
Oh, tight.
So, right, okay, so like literally, they made a $50 million profit. Good for them.
Yeah.
So the movie is directed, written, and produced by John Hughes.
Yes.
Hughes. He also, which I didn't know, he wrote all those like I was never into these movies, and neither were you, because if I don't like it, you don't like it. He wrote all those National Lampoon Vacation movies.
Yeah.
You know those?
I do what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not. I tried watching one recently and it was kind of funny, but yeah, I've never seen them
I
really.
feel like if you didn't watch it when you were like 10, you missed
Yeah,
it. So yeah, he wrote those.
I should watch those one day.
Right. So let's get into casting. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, John Hughes did 16 Candles
Mm.
first, then he did Breakfast Club second, and then he did Pretty in Pink.
Oh, he likes some Molly.
Oh no, she was like his muse.
Yeah,
Like that's like a
so
thing.
what he did? 16 Candle first.
16 Candles was first.
16 Candle.
Um Breakfast Club and then Pretty in Pink.
Cool.
So where was I going with this? Okay, so Marley Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall, who plays Brian, the brain in the movie, they both starred in 16 Candles, and towards at the end of the filming or whatever, Hughes was like, I got another project I'm working on. I want y'all in it. And it was like, okay, cool, bet. Molly Ringwald, she wanted to play Claire, who originally was supposed to be named Kathy in the original writing of the script. But John Hughes was like, nah, I want you to play Allison, the basket case.
I heard that. Right, I read that too.
And she was like, nah, son. She was like, I'm not. And after some negotiation with like the studio and him, she eventually got the role.
I read that she didn't want to play Allison because it was too similar to what she already was used to playing, like the weird girl,
Right?
Cast, and she wanted to like switch it up.
Right. That's what that feels like. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Then the role eventually went to
Molly.
Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Molly eventually got the role of Claire, and then the basket case Allison went to.
Her name is
Oh my goodness, my notes are all over the place.
Allie Shady.
Allie Shady. Okay, and then the people who read for Claire, the part of Claire, some noticeable names: Robin Wright, the woman from House of Cards. You watch House of Cards, huh?
I did not. Josh did, but I think
Oh,
you're talking about right.
yeah, the chick from House of Cards, Jodie Foster. You know Jodie Foster. She was like in everything
Yeah,
in the
Halloween,
80s.
right? That's Jodie Foster.
No, that's not Jodie Foster. That's oh god, what's her name? What is her name?
Who's Jodie Foster?
Jodie Foster. She's in like The Silence of the Lambs and Taxi.
Oh,
Her.
right.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. Who's in Halloween? What's her name?
Oh my god, it's gonna kill me. Kathy. No, not Kathy.
Harry, I'm coming. Why should we should know this because of Glee? Jimmy Lee Curtis.
That girl's not in Glee, girl. That's not
Who's
Glee.
not in Glee?
That's Jane Lynch.
Oh wow.
That girl said we should know this because of Glee.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't she in? But she's in. Wait, what's that TV show with the Scream Queen? Oh, she's in Scream Queen.
Yeah,
That's
she's
what
a
that's what I
Scream
picked her
Queen.
from.
Yeah.
She's got the same tall stack.
Right. Okay, but anywho.
Oops. I'm so bad with celebrity
You
names.
are. Jeez. So people who auditioned for Claire, House of Cards.
Sorry, I went through like 8 people who I thought were the same person.
I bet you did. Jesus. Okay, so people auditioned for Claire: Robin Wright from House of Cards, Jodie Foster, who's in Silence of the Lambs, Taxi, and some other stuff, and then Laura Dean, the chick from Big Little Lies, and she's in Marriage Story. She's in Jurassic Park.
Oh yes.
Yeah. She also auditioned. But you know, Molly came out on top and got the role. Allie Shady got the role of Basket Case.
Allison.
Yeah, Allison. She got the role of Allison. Emilio Estez, who plays Andrew, the jock, he auditioned for the role of John Bender, the criminal. However, John Hughes was like, he couldn't find somebody to play John. No, he couldn't find somebody to play Andrew. And he was like, he recasted Emilio Estez as Andrew the jock.
Do you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of an old dude from Back to the Future. What's his name?
Oh, the ones with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, that's what he reminds me of.
Oh, really?
When I look into his eyes, I'm like...
That's interesting. You want to know who his dad is?
Michael J. Fox is?
No, Emilio Estez.
Yeah, I can't figure that out.
Yeah, Jesus, I'm having strokes. The old guy from Grace and Frankie, the dad. The uptight one.
Oh, okay.
They kind of look alike.
Yeah.
And you want to know who his brother is?
Okay, yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
Who's brother?
Emilio Estez.
His brother's
Their
Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, and then
blood? No.
I think so. They don't have the same last name, which confuses me. But I think it's because the dad, his last name is Estes, and I think he changed his last name to Sheen. I guess once he got to Hollywood or something. I don't know. And then I think Charlie Sheen took the name that he changed it to, but Emilio Estes kept the original name. I think.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, they all kind of look alike. When you really look at them in the face, they all look alike.
I'm gonna have to look at Charlie Sheen again because I'm not seeing it. But them other two look.
Yeah, they look alike. Okay, back to casting. So Nicolas Cage was considered for the role of John Bender, the criminal. I think that would have been so good. He would have done so well in that.
No.
Oh my God, yes.
Did you see that he cannot play a bad boy? You saw that
yes,
movie?
He can.
When it's like bike help. He's like on
a motorcycle. And he's like a ghost or something.
Ghost rider.
I've never seen that movie.
He's a bad boy in it. He doesn't know.
I think everything he does is he plays a bad boy or plays crazy.
Not National Treasures. He was good. That was just like his best movie.
Yeah, that was his.
National Treasure. It was his best movie.
Yeah, that was his.
He was playing a normal guy. When he plays when he's in the plane, when they steal the plane, what's that called?
Con Air.
Con Air. He's kind of he's a good guy at heart, but he tries to play like a bad guy. It's a decent movie, but
he's good in Two-Face.
Is he?
Is he though?
Is he? I just feel like his acting style is kind of bad.
I think his acting style is always slightly crazy, and I feel like he could have done very well with that in The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, but I think I'd have been like, ew, I think he'd have grossed me out. Bender kind of turns me on.
Yeah.
I think he'd have just like grossed me out, but.
That's true. So he was considered John Cusack. Do you know who that is?
It sounds familiar, but
he's in the movie where they hold up the boombox.
Oh yes,
him.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't say anything. I think that's
it's like
movie.
Love Camp. It's like
no,
it's whatever it's supposed to be. You know, love don't cost a thing, but it's like
that's not.
Can't Buy My Love.
That's not Can't Buy My Love.
What?
Jesus.
Yes, it is.
Bear with us, people. It is not. It's Say Anything. Google Say Anything. It's gonna be the image of him holding the boombox.
Oh, F. Fine.
Yep.
Right.
That's the 1 point for me. Jordan, earlier before we started recording, I was trying to fix the mic, and she was like, righty tighty, lefty loosey. I was like, okay. And I was going right, so I was tightening it, but I was trying to loose it, and she's like, you're going in the wrong direction. And I was like, oh. And then I did it, and I was like, oh, you're right.
She hates when I'm right.
Yeah. Okay, so, anywho, so John Cusack. So he got the role. As John Bender.
Oh, yes.
And after a while, John Hughes, the director, he was just like, you're not doing it for me. Like, I don't think you can be intimidating enough. So he got fired. And then they found, what is this man's name? Jude Nelson, the guy who actually plays him. He got Jude Nelson. And then when they started shooting and everything, he would stay in character and he would treat Molly Ringwald like really bad, like when they weren't filming. And remember, Molly Ringwald is like John Hughes' muse. Like, this is like his baby. Like, he loves her.
Right.
And so he was like, he was like on the bridge of firing him. He was like, I'm sick of you treating her like this. Like, you're fired. Mm-hmm. And then all the other people, like, mainly the guy who plays the principal, but everybody else too, even Molly was like, no, like, don't fire him. Like, what he's doing is fine. Like, he's just doing like the whole method acting thing, like yada yada yada. And I think like Molly talked him into it, and she was like, and he was like, okay, I'll do everything or anything you say, Molly, because I love you. So that was that. I have one more note. Two more. Okay. And then so the main five actors in the movie became commonly known as members of the Brat Pack. So like the Brat Pack was like these group of like young actors who were always in like these same like recurring like 80s like teen films. So all of them were members of the Brat Pack, plus Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, the guy from Pretty in Pink who plays like the rich dude.
Oh, he's
part of the Brat Pack. And I think those are like the core people.
Cool.
So yeah. I'm not done. Okay. Now we're going to filming. Okay, so filming began March 28th, 1984, and ended in May. It took place at some high school that closed in like 1981. So, Ferris Bueller's Day Off was also shot in the same high school.
Oh, cool.
And so that movie came out in 86. And to save money, like once they were done like filming The Breakfast Club, John Hughes was just like, okay, next day, like we're filming Ferris Bueller Days Off. Like, no one leave.
Oh, he did that too?
Yeah,
He
like
did Ferris Bueller's
yeah,
Day
yeah,
Off?
yeah. He directed that one.
Oh wow.
And so then
he's not taking no breaks.
he's not. The movie is set in Chicago. I don't think we mentioned that. It's set in the suburbs of Chicago.
Chicago.
And then so the library at the school was too tiny, but they liked the way it looked. So they replicated it in the gym. It made it bigger. It looked the exact same, but made it bigger. So that was a gym the whole time.
That's funny.
I don't know how they did that.
I don't know how they did that. But I remember when I was watching, I was like, wow, this library is amazingly huge.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Okay, so.
And I have a thing for big and pretty libraries. I've always been obsessed with that library.
Yeah,
I feel like it speaks to the school when you have a large, nice library. It means you value education.
Come stay here, kids.
So then the film was shot in chronological order, which is very rare. Most films aren't shot in order.
Right.
And in 2015, I guess like they turned the high school into like an office building or something. I don't know, but somebody found like the original script in the building when they were cleaning it out.
Oh, I heard
Isn't that so cool?
That is cool. But I also heard eventually a police station bought it. But that is pretty cool.
Oh, okay, maybe so.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my god, I would sell that for
right.
Actually,
I would pass
keep
out.
It.
I
would keep it.
One more thing. The movie poster. The movie poster is iconic.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it them sitting down?
It's like all 5 of them, like Molly's laying down. They're all on top of each other.
Yeah.
And they're like looking into the camera. Apparently that like changed the way people like
do
posters for like teen movies now. And then the tagline for the film, which was very long, I'm going to read it. They only met once, but it changed their lives forever. They were 5 total strangers with nothing in common meeting for the first time. A brain, a beauty, a jock, a rebel, and a recluse. Before the day was over, they broke the rules, bared their souls, and touched each other in ways they'd never dreamed possible.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Isn't
a good
it?
summary.
How poetic. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, awesome.
That was a lot.
So let's hop into the movie. So in the beginning of the movie, we start off with this like iconic song, "Don't You Forget About Me."
Oh, I googled who sings that song.
Don't. It's by Simple Minds.
I'm glad. Okay, yeah, great.
And it's called "Don't You."
In parentheses, forget about me.
Yes. And it's that song's in the background. We get to see the title or the name of the high school, which is Shermer High School.
The date, March 24th, 1984.
Yes, and then in the beginning scene, we get the monologue that Brian is going to write by the end of the movie. I guess we don't know just yet that Brian is writing this essay.
Right.
But
Can I read it?
This is the essay. Yeah, go ahead for it.
Okay. So the movie opens up. Brian's reading this little monologue, the opening monologue, and it's, "Dear Mr. Vernon, we accepted the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. You see us as how you want to see us, in the simplest terms and in the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each of us is a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Correct? That's the way we saw each other at 7 o'clock this morning. We were brainwashed."
Oh, I like it.
It's different at the end.
Yeah, totally. And then while he's talking, I'm pretty sure everyone's like showing up in their cars and stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's very interesting how you see they're all their dynamics with their parents.
You can kind of see the problems. They're the main problems of these kids are their parents, and you get a glimpse of that in the very beginning of the movie of their kids getting dropped off. Mainly the jock, which is Andrew. What's his dad saying? Like, I don't know. You better get this together so you can go to college or something. Don't lose your scholarship, something like that.
Yeah.
And then,
something douchey.
And then
Brian's mom. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention this. That was his real mom and his real little sister in the car.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, that's so cute. Oh, she did a good job.
Yeah, she was acting good.
Like, in the scene, she's like telling him to like, you better go study, basically.
And he's like, "Mom, it's detention. I don't think we're supposed to study." And she's like, "You better figure out a way to study."
Yes.
I was like, that is the most black.
Very black.
Like, that's very black mom energy.
Right. You better find a way.
Even though they weren't black, but
yes.
She was like, "You better find a way to study." I was like, oh.
And then my favorite part is when John Bender comes out. Don't be mad at me, but he's so hot, and we get to see him for the for the first
Don't be
time.
mad at me.
He's hot.
He is.
He shows up. He's a cool guy. He almost gets hit by the car.
Right,
that
everyone-
Allison's parents are driving,
And he doesn't flinch.
He
She
doesn't
almost
flinch.
hit him. He
Yeah,
don't flinch.
does
She
not
keep
flinch.
walking.
Criminal. And then we get to see Allison's dynamic because I guess she's like tries to say goodbye to her parents, and they
And
like
they
drive
drove off. They pull off. She's probably saying, "Bye, Mom. I love you." And she's skirt.
And it's so weird because both of her parents in the car. It's not just like one parent doesn't like you. They're both in the car.
They are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like two parents on the front.
Okay.
And they're like, because she was sitting in the back seat.
Oh.
That's why I assumed. So if they weren't in there, I mean, that'd be even weirder. No one was
Right.
sitting in the passenger. But and they just like drive off and
They don't acknowledge her.
yeah, they probably know they have to drop her off there.
And then
Surprised she made it.
And then Claire's in the car in her BMW with her daddy talking about is there no way you could get me out of this?
Yes.
Girl, it's detention.
Who is your daddy?
It's not jury duty, girl.
You want me to pay him
Right.
off?
There's no way you can get me out of this.
She's a princess.
Right.
And then they all end up in the library, and I guess to me they meet the principal, Vernon, and he goes ahead and gives them their assignment, which is to write a 1,000-word essay about who you think you are.
That is thick. 1,000 words?
1,000 words. And is he gonna read this? I was like,
No, he's not.
I can't. You want me to recount this? This is before this is before laptop. So you want me to recount this? It has to be grammatically correct. Are you gonna read this?
Right.
Are you literally gonna read this?
Right. And
Pen
then
and paper? Pen? How am I writing this? Pencil?
No, I didn't even think about that.
No one has supplies.
There's no word count at this time.
Yeah.
Like,
and no one has a pen and paper. He walks into the one, I never understood why he doesn't watch them.
yeah.
What detention have you ever been in where the teacher's like, "All right, guys, see you about. I'll be checking in another hour."
Right. That's true.
And then when he does check in on them, he knows no one's writing anything.
Right. He does. He's not. He's never like, "Why aren't y'all writing on
Where's
paper?"
the pen and where's the paper?
He's never like that.
No.
He never asks.
He's not really good at the job. Anywho, but I never understood why he never watched them.
That's actually that's a deep question to ask somebody on a Saturday detention. When I was in high school, if you got detention, you just wrote the handbook.
Right. Who do you think you are? That's a very deep question.
That's a loaded question to be asking
Maybe
a 16-year-old.
that's like a reflection. Like, Miss Principal, is he the principal or teacher?
I think he's the vice principal.
Oh, the vice principal, right?
Yeah.
Vice Principal Vernon. Is that like a deeper question for you? Like, who do you think you are?
are?
Because I'm 16.
Right. Like,
I'm not supposed to know that yet.
yeah.
Exactly. And I also think it is crazy.
I think it's crazy. And also, they're there from 7 to 3.
Yes.
That's crazy. They're there for 9 hours.
Hour detention.
Kill me.
Also, I do want to point out that I'm assuming he's the only one who does this every Saturday. Does he not have a life?
Oh, for true.
Does he not? Because he's going to be seeing, what's his name? Bender the next 2 months.
Right. He got him locked in for his natural born life.
Right. But what are you doing, Vice
Sir?
Principal Vernon?
Right. That's why
Every Saturday?
Oh, Lord.
Jesus.
I didn't even think about that.
Okay. So moving on from there, they get their assignment. And I think in the beginning, it's pretty quiet until, of course, Bender, he's the one who causes all the ruckus. And he decides that he has to pee, and he's gonna go pee. He's gonna pee on the floor. He's like, "I'm gonna pee in here." You remember?
Yeah. And then Andrew's like, "You better not urinate in here."
Yeah. And and that roused the group up.
Right. Now stuff's getting started.
Yeah. Then he makes this terrible comment. He's like, "Let's close the door and
impregnate the prom queen."
Did not like that comment.
Oh, terrible.
Out of the terrible things he does to Claire in this movie, top. That's a top comment.
Like, yeah.
It's pretty rapey.
Pretty rapey. Out of all his foul comments
yes.
that he spews at her, that's like top 2.
Right. I was like, oh, that's okay.
And then she's just like, I'd have been like, get me the hell out of here.
Yes. And then I guess it cools down. Maybe it calms down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And then they start talking about, their group dynamics. And everyone's in different, so Claire is part of social groups or clubs that are more social, and Brian talks about his academic groups that he's in, physics, Latin club. He said something else, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember.
really, I can't remember what it was either, but I think that's when we first see the different dynamics and how Brian is like oblivious to the fact that he's a. I think he's kind of oblivious.
Oh
to the
yeah,
fact
he
he's a
doesn't
nerd.
know that he's like a nerd.
Yeah, and Claire's very obvious that she's popular, and Bender is very obviously trying to point everything out. Like he's trying to rile people. He was like,
right.
so he was like saying like basically like, why do you not consider his clubs as social as your clubs? He's like he's trying to like
right. He's being messy.
Yeah, he's being messy.
He's being messy.
He's trying to stir
right.
stuff up, and then Andrew's like, he's in the wrestling club, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So he's in, they're all in different clubs.
He's just dumb because he's a jock.
Yes.
And then, girl in the back, Allison in the basket case, she's not even talking.
Yeah, she doesn't get pop until later.
Right.
But once she starts going, she starts going.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually, Bender decides to take the screw out of the door so that they can have more privacy to do whatever the hell they want. Clearly, it's not his first rodeo at detention.
Right. He is a seat holder
in
the library. He is a season ticket holder.
Mm-hmm.
He be in there.
You know what screen to take out to make sure this door does not open.
Right.
And surprisingly, no one like rats on him throughout this whole movie. No one like ever like
because Vernon comes in, the door slams. Right.
The door slams. They cause a ruckus. They're like, close the door. Bird, whatever his name.
They
Bender.
all shouting. They're like, "Why are you upside down? You're gonna get us in trouble. Don't take the screw out." Blah 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 blah. He takes the screw out. Vernon come in, talk about what's going on here. I heard a ruckus. And they're like, "Can you describe the ruckus?"
No.
Sir?
That's when he falls through the.
Oh, that's when he falls. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we'll get there. But no, because he in this scene he accuses Bender of taking the screw out. He's like, "Give me the screw." He's like, "I don't have the screw."
Right.
And then Vernon and Andrew, they try to prop the door open with the chair that's too light, and he tries to put that magazine holder thing in front of the door.
Right.
And then they like, this is a fire alarm, and then he's like, "Come on, Andrew, move that."
No, he's like, "This is a fire hazard. You're gonna endanger the lives of young children." And then he's like, Vernon's like, "What are you doing, Andrew? Get out of here."
Yes, and then this is when they go back and forth. And this is when Bender gets all those detentions.
Oh, right. They go back and forth.
Yeah. He says something that is so 80s. "Eat my shorts." To Vernon. And every time I hear that, I just like, that is hilarious. Because is that like...
Eat my shorts?
Eat my shorts.
It's like, gag me with a spoon. Like, what?
It's worse than gag me with a spoon. Eat my shorts. Because it's like he's trying to tell them to F off or something. But eat my shorts. It's hilarious. And then... they like go back and forth and no. They're like going back and forth. Yeah. So they're going back and forth, and every time, so Vernon and Bender are going back and forth, and pretty much every time Bender opens his mouth, he gets another detention.
Right. So detention.
Detention. It's hilarious. And then Claire, I love when Claire whistles at him, says, "Stop."
Then he's like, "That's another one."
Right. So I think at this point he's got like 2 months worth of detentions.
Right.
And then Vernon leaves, and that's when Bender goes, "F you."
Oh yeah.
And then that's like that cool. I really love that scene.
Oh yeah.
And because Vernon hears it as the door closes, and he doesn't turn around. What do you think he's thinking?
He hears it?
He hears it because he makes a face.
Oh.
He hears it, but he chooses not to go back inside. And every time I see that, every time I see that scene, I kind of feel bad for him.
Why?
I don't know, because I feel like
Vernon?
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh, that's evident.
And I feel like he was like, right, he definitely doesn't know what he's doing. But I feel like I can't tell if he's like fed up or like he's like sick of this or he's like, what am I doing?
I don't even
Or he's like embarrassed.
I never even noticed him make that face. But I will say at like that point, like what is he going to do? He's already given the boy 2 Saturdays.
I know. It's like nothing's helping.
Yeah, it's just like there's no point.
Yeah. But I'm just like, what? I feel bad. I was just like, what is he thinking?
Honestly, I'm actually surprised that John Bender even showed up to detention. He seems like the person who he would also ditch detention. I'm surprised he's even.
I'm sure
there.
he has to show up to graduate at this point.
But it's like he also seems like the person who doesn't care if he
graduate.
But for the sake of the movie, he has to be there.
I don't know. He could be all talk. He might actually.
care.
Yeah. Clearly he loves this. So I wonder what he does for the other group of people who are in detention. Like, is it usually just him? Is he like super excited because it's like, oh, this is the most
like,
I've ever
this is
had
a
in
big
here.
group this week.
And then like, did he see? I wonder if this is like funny. I wonder if he's seen Claire before. Always like thought about her, secretly hated her, but secretly liked her because he went like he didn't save no time.
Didn't waste no time.
When he sees.
Had to have seen Claire.
Yeah,
he has to.
He has a built-up resentment against Claire.
Yeah.
From the jump.
For sure.
And I wonder the moment that she came in his detention, he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a ball today."
Right. This is. I'm gonna be on some foo-foo-ish today.
Okay, so Vernon walks out. The group has calmed down, and then the kids are like talking more. This is when Claire's bullying.
The I Hate Claire tour begins.
Yes.
It's in full effect.
Exactly.
I just want to point out that these people, they was at Claire's necks, man. They were pressed.
They did not click Claire. And I kind of get it, but... So, Claire starts talking about her family issues.
Mm-hmm.
How her...
No, because Andrew's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend?
Right.
And Claire's like, I don't know why. And then he's like, whoever is having a big party is going to be sick. You should come.
Well, no, and then she explains that her dad or her mom is
because
like...
Andrew was like, well, are you going to come? And she's like, probably not. And she's like, why? And then she's like, because my mom's going to tell me no. My dad's going to tell me just blow her off. And then it's going to become a huge fight.
Yes.
And they just use me to get back at each other.
And then she's basically saying that her parents should go through divorce. And she's like apparently feeling sorry for herself. And then Allison.
Yeah. Because John's like, who do you want to live with? Who would you rather live with, your dad or your mom? And she's like, they're both screwed. I'd probably just live with my brother. And then Allison goes, ha!
Which is both crazy and mean.
Right?
Like the girl's like sharing her feelings. And then like... And then...
She's really pouring out her soul right now.
And then Andrew accuses her of feeling sorry for herself.
Right. And then she's like, if I don't, who's going to?
Right. And I don't think... Is it okay to feel sorry for yourself? She's just expressing herself.
Right. And I think Andrew got some nerve because the reason why he was asking her if she was going to the party because he liked her. And then when a girl yelling in her face, when Allison yells in her face, he's like, oh, you're just feeling sorry for yourself. Andrew, pick a lane. Right. Do you want Claire or not?
He wants Claire. I mean, after that, I don't think he ever tries to flirt with her again. But yes. And then and then Bender makes that comment about Claire being a fat girl name. And then it makes fun of Claire for being a fat girl. He's constantly bullying her. And then he does that little whole virgin sex fantasy to her.
Oh, yeah. He's like, are you a virgin? Have you ever been in the car? Top down, under the blouse, yada, yada, yada.
Over the bra.
Under the bra.
Under the blouse, over the bra.
And Claire's like sweating. She's like, I
don't know why he's doing this to her.
He's like...
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It's just like, leave her alone. And then Andrew finally steps in and is like, chill out.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Andrew needs to pick a lane because just before he was talking about Claire, you feeling sorry for yourself. Hush up. And now you want to be like, hey, leave Claire alone.
But I think he's a gentleman in some aspects of it.
I don't like the back and forth with him. I find it to be very irksome.
And then they start wrestling. I don't call it fighting. I'll call it wrestling because they're just like, oh.
Oh, because is this where he's like, you don't look at her, you don't think about her, you don't say her name?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, Andrew says that? Yeah. And then they get into that fight, and then that's when Bender takes out the knife.
Oh, yeah. He pulls out a knife.
Stabs it into the table.
Because Andrew's really got him in a chokehold.
Yeah. Andrew won that.
Andrew was on the wrestling team.
Yes. And they were doing wrestling moves, basically.
Right. Andrew had him in a chokehold, and John was squirming.
Yeah.
He was panicking.
Is this the scene he's like, because I have to kill you, man?
Right. This is the scene. He was like, I don't want to get into it with you, man.
Because I have to kill you.
Because then I have to kill you.
And he rips out the knife and he stabs the table.
Yeah.
The more I watch, because I feel like this time we watched it, I look at it in a different lens. He is all talk. Bender.
Oh, 100%.
He's not gonna do anything with that knife.
Right.
He's honestly a big baby.
He is.
And eventually they calm down. I don't know what happens then. I don't know what happens to him to calm down. I don't know where Bender goes after that. I can't remember. But then
No, because then he's like, he shows him the cigarette burn. And he's
no,
like,
that's a little further down.
oh,
Sorry. I have like these. I have these notes mapped up for T because this movie is kind of hard to follow because it's not like big scenes or like you're not changing anything. It's just like dialogue.
Right.
It's great dialogue, but it's a whole bunch of dialogue. It could go anywhere.
Right. For those of you who haven't seen this movie, 90% of the movie is in the library.
Yeah.
So
library like, in the hallways.
And then in the hallway. The other 10% is in the
hallways. But they're mainly in the library. So all of we've been talking, they've been in the library. And this is where it happens. So still in the library. And then Brian's dad walks in. He's the janitor. And he comes in to like clear out the trash. And Bender, out of all people, judges his dad for being a janitor.
Right. It's like, what is your dad?
Me?
A plumber? Like,
what does your dad do?
A TV repair guy?
Exactly. I'm like,
so the guy who plays the janitor, it was originally supposed to be played by, I don't know his name.
What movie
Rick Moranis, the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the dad.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I think that would have been good, but he stepped away from the role because of creative differences.
Yeah, I think he's too sweet.
I think he could have done.
I think he could have done it. I think if he would have done it, I'd have been like, it would have been a whole completely different vibe. Yeah. I'd have wanted to hug
I actually kind of wish
Carl.
he would have played the janitor.
I like Carl. He's
I
like.
didn't like Carl.
I like Carl. I think he's like.
He gives me greaseball.
He doesn't give me greaseball. He gives me like y'all not gonna play with me.
Right.
Like
y'all not the way y'all affecting Vernon.
Yeah.
I ain't like Vernon.
Yeah.
Like y'all ain't about.
And then they have my favorite. This is also not super important to the movie. The whistling scene. I wish I could whistle.
That was
I tried.
That was actually good.
And then Vernon walks in the door and Bender goes. That's
hilarious.
It's so hilarious.
Oh, that's so funny.
But Vernon walks into the room to announce that it is lunchtime.
Let's unpack which each of them had for lunch.
Oh wait, hold on.
Like,
so they go to lunchtime. Andrew and Allison go up. So Vernon chooses Andrew and Allison to go get Cokes for everybody.
Oh, because no, he was okay. But this is what I'm talking about. Andrew was a flip flopper because he's like, Andrew, go get drinks for everybody, and then why does he picked Andrew, but he was gonna pick another person. Oh, to go with him.
Yeah,
and Andrew's pointing at Claire. He's like, Claire, and then he picks Allison, the basket case.
Well, of course, who gonna want to hang out with Allison at this point in time?
Oh, I guess that's true. I guess.
I think I don't know if he wanted to pick another girl, but who is picking Allison?
Right. Because when you really think about it, like, he wouldn't want to go with John either.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't want to go with Brian. He's probably like, Claire's like the most sane.
The closest level of his like
the
social climb.
Yeah, like
pattern.
Claire and Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, not Brian. Claire and Andrew are one and the same.
Right.
And then Allison and John
kind of similar, right. Yeah, and then Brian's the star student.
On his own.
Yeah, he's out on his own. He's exactly, pretty much. And then this is when, so they're walking down the hallway, Andrew and Allison. One of the few scenes are outside of the library. And this is when he's like, what's your drink of choice? And she's like, vodka.
Tons and tons of vodka.
So this is when Allison is just being weird.
You're like, wait, what is this chick's deal?
Talks about the vodka. Which is also, I guess she's trying to be cool. Honestly, maybe back then it was like risque. I feel like people in my high school were drinking vodka 8th grade year. They're like, okay, girl,
but
whatever.
Did he mean it in like a...
No.
Like, I feel like he was asking her, oh, like, do you like Pepsi or Coke?
Yes. No, 100%.
Okay.
But she said vodka to be cool. I don't know, to be weird. I guess it's to show she was I don't know why for shock and awe.
She was literally like, I think she literally drinks vodka.
I don't think she drinks vodka at all.
You don't? I think she does.
I don't. I think she's a liar. I think she's a compulsive. I think her character is a compulsive liar. I think she says things for shock and value to get attention because her parents don't give her attention.
Ooh, girl, therapy. Oh my God.
And I think as we continue to describe this movie, we'll see that play on and on. She
What are you,
wants,
a therapist? You really
yes.
just like hit the nail on the
Exactly.
head.
Ooh, that was good. And then back in the library, Bender is once again.
Don't got no lunch.
No, wait, no, we didn't get there yet. He's bullying Claire again.
Oh, he acting a fool. Oh, he bullying Claire.
He says that scene you laughed at. Have you ever seen pictures of a guy with? Sorry, snorted so long.
My God, that was so
Wait, you have to say it.
like, oh my God, it's his tone. This boy monotone the whole movie. Like, his tone is just so like. Okay, I'm just trying to say it without laughing. Oh, Jesus. We're going to have to cut this part because it's going to take me a while. He's like, hey, Claire. You ever seen a picture of a guy with elephantitis? Oh, God. Okay,
You got to do it again.
He's like, hey, Claire. You ever seen a picture of a guy with elephantitis of the nuts?
Wow. He's like, would you ever date a guy like that? Why would you?
He's like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. Besides the fact, what else does he say? Oh my God, I didn't write it all down.
He's just the worst. He just can't leave her alone.
And she's just like,
right. And she's just getting bullied left and right
what
by this guy.
kind of question is that? Have you ever seen a picture of a guy with elephantitis of the nuts?
And then, also right after that, so I guess Bender asks Brian, like, are you a virgin? And he's like, of course not. And then he's like, oh, who have you slept with? You wouldn't know her. I met her when I went to Niagara Falls. He was like, okay, besides the many girls you had sex with in Niagara Falls.
Besides the many populous women in the Niagara Falls area.
Who else have you had sex with here? And he's like low key points at Claire, and he's like, and Bender, of course,
right,
the messy man he is. He's like, oh, you had sex with Claire?
He's like, Claire.
And then
Brian was just informing me, aside from the many women in the Niagara Falls area, that you and him have bumped uglies.
Yes, and Claire does not appreciate it. Brian is immediately apologetic about it.
He's like, no, Claire, that's not. He's like, Claire. First of all, he has a lisp.
Oh, he's so adorable.
He's precious. You want to put him in your pocket. He's like, that's not what I meant, Claire.
Exactly. Like, but he says he lied because he didn't want.
He was like, Claire, I didn't want her to know that I was a virgin, okay? Yeah. I didn't want her to know I was a virgin.
But Claire forgives him.
And she's like,
it's fine.
Because Claire is sweet.
Yes,
Claire
is sweet.
Is not mean. She might be popular. She might be a little conceited and self-involved. But she's not mean. Yeah. She's a nice girl.
And she, too, is a virgin, which we'll find out later.
Yeah.
Because they all should be there in high school.
Right.
And then, once Andrew and Allison return, then they feast. And tell me what they eat, Jade.
Girl. Okay. So, let's go to Claire first.
Yes.
Claire has sushi.
Before.
Which really, first of all, everybody's lunch really speaks to their character.
Yes.
The fact that this girl brought sushi, do you know how highfalutin you gotta be to bring sushi for lunch?
I didn't know what sushi was.
Right.
Until, like, I don't know. I don't know. My family never ate sushi, so I feel like I probably didn't have sushi until college.
Period.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
First of all, in the 80s, I mean, we weren't alive, so I don't know how widespread sushi was in the 80s. But the fact that she brought it to lunch, son.
Yeah.
Like, did you go to the restaurant? Did you make it at home?
Right.
How did you obtain this sushi?
Like, now it's easier to get sushi from the grocery store.
Right.
But where did you get the sushi from?
Where did you get this from?
Yeah.
Because you came here at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So did you go to you had it yesterday?
Yeah, exactly.
Did the chef at your mansion make it for you? How did you get the sushi, Claire?
Yes.
And you would think, like, okay, Claire, yeah, she probably gonna have, like, a salad. She had sushi.
Which is before her
And then she had, like, the tray. She had, like, a wooden tray.
It was a presentation.
The sushi. Yes, it was the presentation. She had the chopsticks. She had it all.
Yes.
And then John's like, what is that? He's like, Claire.
He tripping because sushi is delicious. But I get his, like, what is that? Because I don't think... Honestly, when we watched this movie for the first time, we were like children, did not know what sushi was. And did not know.
I think I knew what it was, but I was just like, why is she eating that?
I did not know what sushi was.
I don't think we had it yet.
Oh, definitely did not.
But so she brings the sushi.
Who's next on the docket?
Andrew,
her desk partner.
Yes, he is on the wrestling team, so I guess he has to eat a high calorie diet. He has to bulk up 5,000 calories a day, I'm sure. Andrew brings out a grocery bag, a brown grocery bag. He pulls out a family size pack of Lay's chips, not the individual pack, a family size pack of Lay's chips. He brings out a total of 3 sandwiches. 3 sandwiches. An apple, and then it was something else.
It was something else.
It was
weird.
something else.
Something else.
It was some like, why you got all this?
Yeah, and he's a tiny boy.
He's so tiny.
So tiny.
He's got to weigh like 160.
Yeah, it's like, where is it?
Like,
going?
where is all this going?
He's got high metabolism because.
And then Allison. Brian. Oh,
let's do Brian last because he's the most normal.
Allison, very on brand. She had a basic sandwich with salami. It looked like it was. It was disgusting. She takes out the salami. She throws it in the air. It lands on a statue in the library. She's got these little, what are those things called? Pixie sticks.
Yeah.
She's got some pixie sticks. She pours the pixie sticks into her Coke. Mm-hmm. And then she pours the rest of the pixie sticks onto the sandwich.
Yes. Oh, she does pour it.
She crunches it up. And then she eats a pixie stick sandwich.
You talk the cereal? She adds cereal to it.
Oh, and she adds the cereal.
It was like Captain Crunch almost.
I think it was it Captain Crunch or was it Cheerios?
No, it was definitely not Cheerios. Cheerios are healthy. It looked like Captain Crunch, but it didn't have the colorful ones in it.
Oh,
it was definitely the most sugary of the cereals. Okay. Cheerios was too healthy.
Okay, then she smashes it.
It looks delicious.
And then it looks delicious. Is that what you just said?
I'm into it. I'm not mad at it.
I am not surprised that this came out your mouth because you are a fiend for sugar.
I love it.
So that actually doesn't surprise me.
My biggest thing is the bread with it all. That's throwing me off. But I will happily take the 56 and the Captain Crunch cereal and eat that. Num. And she doesn't care because she like right when she's about to bite into it.
Everyone turns around and looks at her because they hear her making all that noise back there. They're like, "What's going on back there?"
And she looks up dead in their eyes and she bites into that sandwich.
She bites down into that sandwich with no type of embarrassment, no type of hesitation. She don't give a solid fudge.
Yes. And then we have
Brian has a very healthy snack. John says, "Looks like we have all the major food groups here." Yes. What was it? He had like a peanut butter and jelly.
He had a sandwich, apple juice.
He had a peanut butter and J. I think he had like an apple.
Yeah, maybe he had an apple.
And John's like, looks like we have all the major food groups here. And then, of course, John does not have lunch. And he's basically seeing who he can pick off. Right. And, of course, he's like, Brian.
Yeah, he goes to Brian.
He goes to Brian's food.
And then that leads him to start mocking Brian's perfect family, quote unquote.
Oh, right.
And then he starts mocking and them saying like, this is how I imagine their household to be like. Hi, Brian. Hi, Dad. How you doing, Dad? Hi, son. Hi, Mom.
Oh, yeah. How was school today?
Right.
Oh, gee, Dad. Right. It was swell.
Yeah, exactly. And then Andrew's like, cut it out.
And then Brian's like, hey. My life isn't like that. Okay?
Yeah. So sweet.
My life's not like that.
He's like, actually, no. And Andrew's like, cut it out. What about your family? And Bender takes his time,
He's like, oh, you want to know about me?
To cause drama.
You want to know about me?
Yeah. And he goes and talks about basically his abusive family.
Yeah.
And imitate his family.
He...
I don't know what happens. He's like his dad's calling him stupid and lazy.
Right. That's what it is. And he's like, stupid, no good, good for nothing. And then the mom, you forgot stubborn, lazy, ignorant, selfish. Shut up, Eileen. Go make me a sandwich.
I don't know. His name is Eileen.
I think it is Eileen. He's like, he goes, shut up, B-word. Go make me a sandwich. And then Andrew's like, I'm not buying any of it. And then
he ends the scene with like a punch. So it's
yeah.
And in his scenes, he's like mocking himself. He's mocking like his dad punching him in the face.
Yeah.
And then Andrew's like,
I'm not buying what you're selling. And he's like, oh yeah. And then he pulls up his sleeve. He shows him his wrist. He has a cigarette burn or multiple cigarette burns on his wrist. And he's like, this is what you get in my house when you don't let the paint dry. Oh no, when you spill paint. When you spill paint in the garage. Do I stutter?
Okay.
And then Andrew's like, oh crap.
Bender runs off and is like, oh, angry. I don't know the world.
He's like, yeah, you made me talk about my home life. Ugh.
Right. Okay. I have a note that I read about this scene. So the writer John Hughes, when he wrote it, he interpreted that scene as Bender showing a bruise, but it not happening from a cigarette. It was like in his head as a writer, it was supposed to be happening like he like hopped a fence and he got hurt and it was an injury from that. Oh. Because in his head, Bender is all talk.
Oh, so he's making up.
He's like making up things. Oh. But the way the actor Jude Nelson interpreted it, he interpreted it as he was being serious.
Right. Oh.
And
that's interesting.
Right. Isn't that interesting? But ever since I read that, I was like, Bender is all talk.
Right. That just solidifies.
Yeah. He is.
Like he literally is just.
Yeah. He's all barking. I'm sure his life is hard.
Right.
But I don't believe. I wonder how hard it is. Like, is he? I would assume if his dad's punching him in the face, right, he would have bruises.
Is he really a product of his own environment, or is he just choosing to act like this?
I'm sure maybe they might be verbally abusive, but are they physically abusive? Are you just poor?
Right.
And, are you just like? Did they even?
Are you just from the south side of Chicago?
Yeah, exactly. So now every time he opens his mouth, I question what's real, what's fake. He just seems angry. To me, he seems angry about being poor, which is why he picks on Claire a lot.
Right.
Because she has this perfect life. I just don't know what his life truly is. Yeah. And then, so he storms off. He's angry, I don't know, with them, at himself. I don't know what he's angry at. And then we see Vernon trying to eat his lunch. Vernon's trying to eat his lunch at this point.
Oh, right. And then he spills his coffee all over his lunch.
The darkest, grimiest coffee ever. It's like thick.
And he said it himself. He was like, this coffee came from the bottom of the Mississippi River.
From the bottom of Mississippi. He's like, and then he leaves his office to go get some more lunch from like a vending machine, which allows the group to sneak away and to go get something from Bender's locker.
Which is marijuana.
Which is marijuana.
His stash.
And we go to his locker. His locker is very interesting. I think he had like a noose on his locker. Yeah. He has like when you open it, like a guillotine style thing, like
slides
down. Right.
How'd you
set that up? Well, he's good at
he's good at chop.
Oh. So he could have figured it out. I just want to know how sharp that knife is. Like, could it?
Like, no, that's literally gonna cut
off. I don't think it could cut my hand off, but I do think it could cut the tip of my finger off.
Yeah,
if it was sharp enough,
for sure.
That's unsafe. I don't know who's checking. Okay, I don't know who's. How is he allowed to have two lockers? Did he bully the person under him?
Right.
And yes. So we go. I don't know how he got the whole group to agree to walk with him. But
yeah, I missed that too. I don't know how everybody.
They don't talk about it, but they just
all go.
They hate Bender, but they are like, so they don't rat on him and they follow him so easily.
Yeah, like they literally obey his every command.
Right. So they go to his locker to get weed, and pretty much everyone's like shocked
by his locker,
by the weed.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh my god,
right?
Drugs,
especially Brian. He's like, weed, marijuana,
drugs.
Yeah, drugs at school.
In your locker.
Which I mean, weed is. Everyone, I mean, it's very popular nowadays, and it's not that popular in the 80s, but to me, having drugs on campus is really scary. I'm like, oh my God, what if the dogs come?
Right.
Not only
they bring out the mutts.
Yeah, not only if you're going to jail, you might, not only if you're going to get suspended from school, you might go to jail.
Suspended, expelled.
Huh?
Suspended, expelled.
Expelled, right. And then they got the weed, and Bender's happy, and they start to make their way back into the library, and then realize that they cannot, because everywhere they go, Vernon is there.
Is like in the opposite direction.
Exactly. And they start, which is my favorite, this movie has a lot of them, a running montage. A little montage. So it's like a montage of them running.
They're running, trying to get to the library, trying to avoid Bender.
Always running into him, wherever which way they go. And then
after a while, the montage is over.
Yeah.
They're like, John's like, okay, no, we need to go this way. Andrew's fed up of his crap, and he's like, no, we're done listening to you. We need to go this way to the northeast side of the gymnasium.
Right.
John's like, no, man, you don't know what you're talking about. And then Andrew's like, no, man, you don't know what you're talking about. We're done listening to you. And
He's pulling ranks.
so, yeah, there's a shift in power.
Uh-huh.
So now everyone follows Andrew, and John relentlessly goes along with them. They run. They get to wherever Andrew said they needed to go. And then once they get there, it's like locked. They're like trapped. They're stuck. And then
Putting them in
John's
danger.
like, I told you so.
But he bravely volunteers as tribute.
He sacrificed
He sacrifices himself. He's like, you guys go back to library. I'm going to distract Vernon. And I'm going to save the frickin' day, man.
They do as their leader tells them.
Yes. And they he saves the day by
He like runs through
drawing Vernon into the
gym.
the
He's
basketball
like
gym.
yelling. He's banging on
I
lockers.
want to be an airborne ranger. That's what he's singing as he runs down the halls. And Vernon eventually is like hearing him. He's like, oh, where is he?
Like, this little turd.
Yeah, and he eventually finds him in the basketball gym. And Bender's playing basketball.
He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm playing basketball. Trying to get a scholarship.
Oh, yeah. And Vernon is like, what the hell? Literally pissed off. Come back with me. So I think he I always get confused by the scene, but I think he first brings Bender back to get his things. And then he yells at Bender in front of the students. He says like,
oh, right.
Is that when he says like, this is what y'all want to end up? Y'all want to see something funny? Find him in 5 years.
Oh, yeah, look up John Bender in 5 years.
Which is so sad.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot tell
right,
him
you
that.
can't say that to like a 16.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. And I'm sure he's a terrible student, and I'm sure he made you want to say that. But you can't say that out loud.
Right.
Look him up in 5 years? That's so mean. What if he, like, dies in 5 years?
And then you can tell John is hurt.
Yeah. And then he takes him to the closet.
Then he takes him to the closet.
And yells at him some more.
Right.
And he threatens to beat him up. Well,
basically, Vernon tries to get Bender to take a swing at him.
yeah.
And he's like...
He wants him to punch him.
He's like, punch me right here.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I dare
right here,
you.
Right here.
And he says, like, you think anyone's going to believe you that, I punched you or something like that? They're not going to believe you because look at you, look at me type of situation. Right. And then he says, I make $31,000 a year and I got a house. You think I'm going to lose that on you? I was like,
well,
okay.
I'm rolling in dough,
Yes.
baby.
I was like, $31,000? Sir, the way these kids stressing you out, you didn't even make $1 million. You got to quit your job.
And then as he's inching closer and closer to him, as Vernon is inching closer and closer to John looks petrified.
He doesn't know what to do, right?
He looks so shook. Like, he's like, oh my God.
Because he's all talk.
He's all talk. That's the scene, really, that you're really just
Yeah.
like, okay, he really, like, not about what he be saying.
Exactly. And then Vernon eventually leaves. And Bender, of course, this is one of my favorite scenes. He, like, climbs through the ceiling to get back to the library. And I read this. So, in it, he's, like, telling it, like, a dirty joke. He's like, and the mom walked into something.
Yeah.
And I read that. So, after he falls through, so he climbs back, he's on the ceiling to climb back to the library, and he falls through.
Right.
And he goes, and then all the students, and they look back, and he goes, what? I came to get my pencil. So apparently the joke that he was telling up above.
The punchline was, I came to get the
No,
pencil.
well, it was supposed to be that.
Oh.
But the writers could never come up with what the joke that would end in that punchline. Oh. So he's ad-libbing that scene. He's just like making it up.
Okay.
But the punchline, in theory, they wanted it to be like, what, I forgot my pencil, but none of the writers could come up with something.
that would have been good too.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so, and then that's when Bender comes in, and he's like, what was that ruckus?
Can you describe the ruckus, sir?
What ruckus?
I heard a ruckus.
Yeah, it was huge. That was the loudest. You don't see the hole in the ceiling,
sir?
I don't know how he got away with that.
Right, I don't understand. So while Vernon's coming in investigating the ruckus, John's underneath the table where Claire and Andrew is sitting. Mm-hmm. He's underneath the table right in front of Claire. Claire's sitting with her legs
minding
open.
her business.
Business.
Trying not to rat this boy out.
He see legs wide open, see some draws, and get a little frisky. And has the audacity, the viewer, I feel like you're not certain of exactly what he does, but you can tell he touches her inappropriately.
Oh, you think so?
What do you think he does.
Oh, I think he puts his head in between her thighs and she closes them.
Oh,
I don't think he,
maybe so.
Yeah, I don't think he does anything.
Okay, so back to what I was reading. Back to rewind when I was saying Marley Ringwald had did that like article for the New Yorker. What did she say? Claire's sitting to hide from the teacher. While there, he takes the opportunity to peek under Claire's skirt, and though the audience doesn't see, it's implied that he touches her inappropriately. Well, that's what Molly said. This is Molly's. These are Molly's words.
In my head, he's like,
yeah. I thought now that you said, yeah, in my head, I thought he just stuck his head.
Yeah, and in my head, he doesn't make it far because I don't know if we can actually see her close her thighs.
Yeah,
but
she like closes her thighs.
Yeah.
But either way,
I mean, it's pretty inappropriate.
He assaulted her.
Yeah, it's pretty inappropriate. And then Bender, now back in the library, he gets his weed from Brian's pants that he stuffed down earlier when they parted ways, and he goes to the back to smoke his doobie.
Right.
And each member of the Breakfast Club follows.
Right.
Who's the last person to go?
Probably Brian.
I want to say it was Alice. I think it was Allison.
Was it Claire? Was it? No, it was Andrew. It had to have been Andrew.
It was either Andrew or Allison. It might have been Andrew.
Yeah.
But Brian's like the second person to go, or the third.
Claire was probably first.
Yeah. She was like, oh, right. I think Claire was like the first to go. But, and they're smoking.
They get high.
Yeah. Brian in the scene is probably the most noticeably funny guy because he's like got his sunglasses on. I think he's my favorite high.
Oh, he's like, nah. What does he say?
I don't know. He has sunglasses.
He sounds like
on.
he's like Ray Charles.
Right. And then Andrew has his scene where he like.
Andrew was not acting like he smoked a lick of weed. He was acting like he snorted cocaine. Like he took Molly, acid, and then an Adderall. Yeah, he went ape. Like he was. Yeah. He's running around the library. He's screaming. He's punching the air.
He's dancing. He's
dancing. He's punching the air. He's moving at like 40 miles per hour. He runs into a library room, screams so loud that he shatters the glass.
No one hears it. Vernon doesn't hear it. No one's concerned about
no one
glass.
hears. No one's concerned. He's punching walls. Yeah. Oh my God! I was like, how did he smoke weed?
He's letting go.
This isn't. But this is not the behavior of marijuana.
This is not the vibe that they talk about. But I don't know. I guess it was to show that him finally letting loose. But yeah, it was a lot. And then while Andrew's dancing, Vernon goes down to the basement to look at the confidential files of the students, where Carl, the janitor, catches him and makes him pay like $50. And this is like later on they're gonna have a heart-to-heart, but that's how they get down there together.
And so now we're back in the library.
Yeah, back in the library. And
Allison steals Brian's wallet, right?
Right. So, yes. So they have broken up. So it's like Andrew and Brian are chilling by themselves. And of course, Allison comes along. And she's like, well,
I don't know what Andrew and Brian are talking about, but she's like, you're 130 pounds. You live on Ancestor Lane, 103 Ancestor Lane. Your birthday is March 20th, 1960. Yada yada yada. And he's like, do you want to tell me how you know all this stuff about me? And then she's like, I stole your wallet.
Which is crazy. I wonder how she stole his wallet. Yeah, I wonder when was she able to do that?
When do they dance? Did we miss that?
No.
Okay.
That's after they have the big heart-to-heart.
Okay.
And then so she does that.
Steals his wallet, yeah.
Brian shows his fake ID. He's like,
Andrew's like, why do you have a fake ID? And he's like, so I can vote.
That was an ad-lib scene that they kept in.
Oh, really?
The voting part, yeah. That's one they kept in. And I think it's so funny. But what is he making it like 70, like 60?
Oh, yeah. It said that he was like 64, his
That's
ID.
ridiculous.
Sir.
Right.
You don't even look 15.
Yeah. Also, in today's time, this is what Trump's America is upset about. People who fake vote.
Oh, right.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
It's so funny. And that's when Allison, so to stick with this group, and then eventually Allison dumps out her purse. And then it's like, she invites herself. She's like, do you guys want to look into my purse? And the boys are like, no.
Like, no thanks. And then she does it anyway. So she opens her purse, she dumps all her stuff, which really wasn't that much stuff. She just had like a lot of tampons.
Some clothes.
And they're like, do you want to tell us why you have so much stuff in your purse? And then she's like, in case I ever got a cram or jam.
Right. In case I ever got a jam.
In case I ever need a jam.
Like, okay, girl.
In case you ever got a what?
And then
basically, in case she ever needs to run away.
Yeah, and what they do every time someone opens up, they shut you down.
Oh, right.
They're like, why, you weirdo? And
Right.
Brian's like, are you hearing this? Wait, no, because she starts saying that her life is unfortunate and she's not happy with her home life and she might need to leave.
And she's like, I can go anywhere. I can go to Africa. I can go to Afghanistan. I can go to Texas. I can go to Missouri. I can go to the Alps.
Right. It's not just like
I can go to the Swiss Alps.
And then Brian's like,
he's like, do you hear this chick?
Yeah. It's just like, basically like she sounds crazy. She's unhappy with her life. And then Andrew's like, well, you know, Andrew's like kind of being like nice about it. Yeah,
he's like understanding. He's like, well, we're all kind of unhappy with our home life.
Right. Yeah. And then I guess she doesn't like what they're saying. She's like, forget about it. And then Andrew's like, well, hold on. You dump your stuff in front of us. Don't get mad at me.
You literally, metaphorically and literally dumped your baggage in front of our face.
Exactly. And then those two, and she storms off. Andrew follows because now he's got a crush on her.
Because now he's like, Claire's not into me, I guess. So let me go over to Allison.
Right. Well, they have like similar stuff. So they start talking about their parents and how their parents are messing them up. Yeah. Because did she say that her parents ignore her? Oh yeah, Andrew asks, so what do your parents do to you? She says they ignore me.
They don't know I exist.
She said they ignored me. Right. And Andrew's basically like, oh, I know, my parents messed me up too. I get it. Yeah. And they have heart to heart. We'll get more into Andrew's background later when he tells us why he's in detention. And then on the other side of the library is Claire and Bender. And they're going through each other's stuff.
Yeah. And then he's looking at her, literally like her eyebrow pencil. Her like spoolie. And her like spoolie. Uh-huh. It's like a brush. And he's brushing his teeth with it. And then she's like looking through all of his, is it pictures?
Yeah, it's like his wallet. And he has like tons of pictures.
All these girls. Wallet. And she's like, are all these your girlfriends? And he's like, some of them. And she's like, some of these are your girlfriends?
He's like, some of my girlfriends, some of them I just consider.
And then she's like, consider what? And he's like, consider if I want to hang out with them or not.
He's so cool.
This is so cool. How do you have some girlfriends? Like, I just don't understand that. You have
different, I don't know.
Like, you have 5 girlfriends?
Who knows if those pictures are actually real girls? Right. How old are these women? I don't know. Right. He's so full of BS.
And then he's like, why do you got so much crap in your purse? And she's like, why do you have so many girlfriends? And I forgot what he's
right. I think we're supposed to take from the scene is that Bender is like into all these girls and he's like uber relationship type, and Claire's more like believes in one guy, one girl. I think she's asking for a specific reason. I wonder how that turns out, because of course in the end they end up together. But I wonder if she expected him to dump all his girlfriends. I wonder if that thought process. Right. But what happens next? So while they're doing that, and then we go back to Carl and Vernon down in the basement, and they're having a heart-to-heart about the kids. And the kid's not respecting him, and Vernon's talking about the kids have changed and all that. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And then Carl, I like Carl. Carl's like, the
kids haven't changed, man. You have.
Changed. Right. And Carl's like, basically says, like, I don't think you like being a teacher anymore. Like, this is not serving you. Yeah. And it's obvious. I don't know why Carl the janitor needs to tell you that. Like, you told a student to punch you in the face. Right. Take a vacation. Literally. You need to you need to take a year off, dude.
Take a leave of absence. Right. An indefinite leave of absence.
Bender is getting under your freaking nails, and
yeah, he ain't happy.
Yeah. I don't know, Vernon. So while they're having heart-to-heart, the group is having big heart-to-heart.
Now we're at the meat and the potatoes.
They're having the iconic scene of the whole movie, the Share Circle.
This is literally 50%. This is like 60% of the movie. Like the importance of the movie. This
right
is
here. This is where everything comes together.
Circle scene.
This is what the warm up of
this was for. This whole movie, the lead up, it was right here.
Exactly.
They're sitting in the circle, second floor of the library.
So I do want to point out that I think you remember this. Victorious has a very good spoof episode of this entire movie, and it's hilarious. If you ever are into Victorious, you should find it and watch it. It's actually really funny. It basically sums up the whole movie, and they make fun of it. It's really funny. But okay, yeah. So they're in the Share Circle, And I think,
And I just want to point, I want to point out again, one more time, how pressed they all are when it comes to Claire. This is like the I Hate Claire tour.
It is.
This scene,
she gets it.
it's like she gets it.
Yes.
They rip her a new one in a half.
Every chance they get.
It is just like back and forth. It's like everybody takes turns attacking Claire. And I'm sick of it.
Right. So it starts off with Allison, the liar, the girl who wants all this attention, talking about her quote unquote sex life. And she says that she slept with married men and she's sleeping with her psychiatrist. I don't know what else she says. She says she uses men for sex or something like that. I don't know. And she tells this big old lie.
And Claire's just like, oh my goodness, that's
she's
disgusting.
Shocked, appalled.
She's floored.
And
then none of the guys are like, huh? Like, she just said she had sex with her psychiatrist who's married.
She's like,
and
15,
none of the
16.
guys are like going crazy. Everyone's like, why are you being so judgmental, Claire?
Well, and then someone asks Claire, are you a virgin? She's like, well, I don't have a psychiatrist. And stuff like that.
And Claire's like, I don't even have a psychiatrist.
And then they basically get Claire to admit that she's a virgin.
Yeah.
And then Allison's like, oh, I'm a virgin too. I was just lying. I'm just messing with you.
She was like, yeah, I'm a virgin too. And then Claire's like, you frickin' B-word.
Yeah.
How dare you?
And then they take Allison's side. They're like, you're just mad because she made you admit something.
Yeah, they're like, you're just mad that she made you admit something that you didn't want to admit.
Ignoring the fact that this girl is a compulsive liar. That's it was a crazy thing to do.
They don't care about that. They just care about ripping into Claire.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care. They just want to drag Claire.
And yeah, so Claire gets it again. They're coming for Claire for no reason. And then Andrew starts to explain why he's in detention and the pressures he faces from his dad.
There's this kid named Larry.
His
little
name
nerd.
Larry?
Yeah. Yes.
And
he sees him in the locker room one day. He's a weak guy.
hairy.
Really hairy, bony, skinny. And
they're changing in the locker room.
Yeah.
Really
changing
erotic.
in the locker room.
Just kidding,
He's
no.
bent over. He's real skinny, real frail. He goes up to him, takes some duct tape. Why does he have duct tape on hand?
Where's he getting it from?
Where's he getting the duct tape? And he duct tapes his cheeks together. His butt cheeks. The guy's really hairy. He's got hair everywhere. And then, does he rip the duct tape off himself?
I guess somehow the duct tape gets off, and when he takes it off,
and when the duct tape gets ripped off, he loses all of the hair with some skin.
Okay, and
Andrew's going on about how he felt bad about doing it, but he was thinking about his dad. In a way, he was trying to do it to make his dad proud, like his dad was there or something.
Yeah, well, he was saying that his dad from high school always has these cool stories, and he wanted to have a cool story, I guess, to just be like, I'm cool like you, Dad, because his dad basically wants Andrew to have the same life he had in high school, if not better. He's like, his dad to me is like living through Andrew.
Vicariously through him.
Yeah,
but dad did it.
Andrew's monologue about the whole thing is my favorite part of the whole movie. He always makes me want to cry because he's like saying how because he's crying and he's like saying all these pressures and he's like, do it. He's like mocking his dad. His dad's like, be better, Andrew. Do it, Andrew. And then he starts talking about how he feels guilty to think about the fact what Larry's dad's going to think and say to his dad that this happened to me and the embarrassment Larry has to feel. And he was like, I don't know how do I apologize for this? I'm like, oh, Andrew, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you better do it.
That's crazy that you feel that way because I feel the exact opposite. When we were watching it, the entire time I was watching this, I was like, why are you crying here? Like, why are you acting like the victim? I'm pretty sure the victim here is Larry, not you. And then he's like, and then he said something to the effect like, it's my dad's fault. And I was like, no, it's your fault. Cause
he's a child.
I was like, you definitely are the one who taped his butt cheeks together.
Right, but
I don't feel sorry for Andrew. I'm like, I have no remorse for you.
But bullies, hurt people.
Hurt people. Whatever. He playing a victim. I was like, the real victim here is Larry.
The real victim is Larry. And I'm not sure why he's not suspended instead of a freaking detention.
Expended? Suspended or expelled?
Expelled. I said I combine them. Expelled. He should be. I mean, honestly, if I was Larry's parents, I would sue them, but different times, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Because bullying back then, I don't know. Every time I think of 80s in high school, I think the worst kind of bullying you could ever imagine.
For sure.
Like, if you were a weird kid, you got treated like a weird kid no one cared.
Oh, no one, the principal was probably like, it's good
yeah.
for you.
It's like,
Character building.
Right. Like, no one cared what life you came from. No one felt sorry for you. It's like, oh, you're weird. We're going to treat you like a weirdo. We don't care if you're poor or whatever. They did not care. They bullied you. But Andrew probably should have been in someone's jail, honestly. Or at least kicked out of the school. That's not cool.
For sure.
And all he says, like, he wished that he was injured so he can quit the team. Oh, and I also read that the actors weren't given, like, this wasn't scripted. The actors weren't given reasons of why they were in detention. They ad-libbed this scene.
Are you kidding me?
Right?
That is so hard.
Right.
I could not have done that. I'd be like, no. I'd be like, I cannot do that.
Andrew ad-libbed that. Every time I'm like,
so
okay,
he came up with the butt cheeks scenario.
That's what they said, and they said it wasn't scripted, and the director told them to ad lib the scene. And every time I read that, I was like, even Andrew's scene, because Andrew was hard. Giving.
Good for him.
Was giving.
That was, yeah.
I could kind of see from Brian, but Andrew,
I can't see any of them making that up.
They said it wasn't scripted.
Seemed very hard. Even when she was like, I had sex with my psychiatrist.
Oh, no, the detention part. So I don't know that part. So the reasons why they were in detention. Yeah. So just that part. Maybe he was saying, like...
Do we know why John was there?
Huh?
Do we know why John was there?
No, we just had to assume that he's a repeat offender. Yeah. But pretty much Andrew and Brian had the most interesting story.
Yeah.
But maybe, I wonder if they just, like, at the end of this, at some point in this, you glue someone's butt cheeks, make it happen, go. Or like what, like, I don't know, I just
and then go from there.
Yeah, but like it was ad-libbed, and that was crazy. And then I guess after hearing Andrew's story, Brian goes and tells his story. Brian's story is interesting because he kind of splits it up, because he tells the shop story, and then he tells
the rest.
Yeah. So the beginning of it is like of course he's a brainiac. He's the brain of the group. Student. He's an A student. He took shop so he could get an easy A. Right. And he's like, have you seen some of the dope that take shop? Of course, Bender is one of the dopes that take
shop.
Yeah. Of course, Bender is one of the dopes that take shop. And while to Brian's point, Exhibit A. Do you see this coming? Dopes that take shop.
Right.
And I honestly don't know why Brian thought he'd be good at shop.
Right.
Can you lift? Do you not saw anything?
He probably thought it'd be an easy, because I feel like it's like art. Like if you're not artistically inclined, you can't really fail art just because you can't draw.
Oh yes, you can fail art. I did not do good in art.
Really?
You have to draw stuff. You have to. They
make
you do stuff.
Like if you you literally just like you had to do like your drawings. Like okay, see that little thing right there? That was like our art journal. You just had to do like 10 drawings where they were.
But shop, electricity, sawing things, making things. I don't know why he thought that he was weak at it. Right. He's not a handyman.
Right.
Stay your lane, dude. And then that happens, and then somehow we get to Claire and the lipstick trick.
Well, so he's saying he failed shop.
Yeah,
and he's really upset about it, right?
Yeah, and then that filters down, and then we get to Claire.
Throughout this entire scene, it is like they go back and forth. It's just like they go from one topic to another. They don't stick on the same thing for more than like 2 seconds.
It gets confusing, and it's a lot of up and down. Right. So it's like someone's going through something really serious, and then someone brings it down, or they're like arguing, they're like yelling at someone, and then someone brings it down. It's like it's
a lot of highs and
lows. It's a lot of highs and lows. It's a lot of like, are we mad at each other?
Like change and shifts. And moods.
It's like it's a lot, and they just forget about things easily because like the whole Claire and Allison thing. If that happened to me, I can't even look in Allison's face.
Right. I don't want to talk to
But they get over it.
Right.
Like, it's just like, okay, done deal. It's like, literally once someone's done
Claire
talking.
Has learned to brush things off of her shoulder.
Yeah. Literally once someone's done talking, it's the end of that.
Yeah.
It's the end of that conversation.
Like, next topic.
Yes. Okay. And then they ask, like, what is each person good at? I forgot what anyone else says. Right. But Claire's like, I can put on lipstick, like, she can, like, hold her boobs together and put on her lipstick.
And I thought it was much of a talent.
Yeah. And she asks them not to make fun of her, and everyone agrees. And she puts
like,
it on,
you can't make fun of me.
And everyone starts clapping, like a genuine clap. And then Bender starts doing like a slow clap to be a douchebag. Right. And Allison's like, "Come on, you told her you wouldn't laugh." Or he's like, "I'm not laughing."
He's like, "I'm not laughing." And then Andrew says something like, "You're such a prick." And then now John's heated. And now he goes into crazy mode, and he's like, what do you care? And he was like, John's like, I don't even exist at this school, remember? Because I guess Andrew said something to him about that, to that effect earlier. And then Claire goes, I have feelings just as much as the next person, and it hurts just as much when you step on them.
He goes off.
He was
and like, he's just we have different lives. How dare you even compare our lives together?
Compare yourself. He's like, you have everything, and I have nothing. The school probably shut down if you didn't show up. Oh, stop the presses, everyone. Queenie's missing. And then she starts crying, and he's like, go cry home to your daddy, okay? Don't cry here.
Right. He talks about her diamond earrings, and it's like, oh, those real diamonds? When I get in my house, I get a carton of cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. He's like, are those real diamonds, Claire? You want to know what I got for Christmas? I got a pack of cigarettes. The old man comes up to me and goes, hey, smoke up, Johnny.
Right. Which is another, and then Allison
then takes so he has this long monologue of him going
Claire's
off.
Claire's crying.
And
then another example of ups and downs, because that was a high up. And then Claire kind of brings the group together by saying, wow, are we going to all grow up to be our parents? Allison says it.
Oh, Allison says it?
Allison says, wow, we're all going to grow up to be our parents. And they're like basically saying, they're all saying like, we hope we don't, but... Right. She's saying it's gonna happen no matter what, and she says, when you grow up, your heart dies. So I was like, oh, poor Allison. How deep. She's so sweet. But they're kind of back on the same page. Calms down, and then Brian asks the
age-old question.
What's going to happen on Monday? And we need some clarification. Claire's like, what you mean? Are we gonna be friends on Monday? And he's like, yeah.
And then Claire's
honestly,
she's brutally honest, and she's like, honestly, probably not.
Right.
And then they are up in arms again. They attack Claire.
Right, but she's okay. So they come at Claire, but she's giving straight facts. She says, okay, Brian. So Andrew. When Brian walks up to you the next day, Monday at school, what you're gonna do? You're gonna say,
in front of all your friends.
But once he walks away, you're gonna be like, oh, that dork, blah 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 blah. You're gonna joke around his face. Claire's gonna do the same too, and then
Claire's gonna do the same with Allison.
Yeah, any of them. Bender's like, he's like, he's of course going at Claire again. He's
like, how dare you?
Yeah,
you are so self-polluted and yada yada yada.
But then Claire's like, okay, so if I come up to you on Monday in front of your friends, you're gonna say hey, and then when I walk away, you're gonna claim that we're sleeping each other in order to make your friends happy with at least talking to me or something crap like that.
Right. So they won't give you ish.
But they're still mad at her, even though she's giving straight facts.
But this is because they're all like, as she says this, they're all like, you can see it on their face. They're like, damn, she's right.
Yeah. Except Brian and Allison.
And then because they're like, and Brian's like, I wouldn't do that. And then Claire digs herself into a deeper hole. And she was like, well, it's different for you guys. Your friends look up to us.
Right. And then that's when Brian says, you're so conceited, Claire. You're so conceited. And Allison claims, while she does not have friends, she claims that she hopes she wouldn't have the friends that would care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. She's like, I don't have any friends, but the friends that I would hang out with, they wouldn't care.
Yeah, which I believe. And while I appreciate Claire's honesty, girl, shut up.
Right.
Like, stop telling the truth.
So she was talking about something. Right. It's different. Your friends look up to us. We're cool.
She's only speaking facts. Like, she's being brutally honest. She's being candor.
Yes.
But, because, I mean, Brian, Claire, and Bender are not going to, come Monday, they're gonna roll with they're gonna be, stick to the status quo. Right.
I was like, what are you
Stick
doing?
to the things you know. If you want to be cool, follow one simple rule. Don't mess with the flow. No. Stick to the status quo.
But this is another example of John going off on her, because when she gives the example of like, okay, I come up to you on Monday and you tell all of your friends that you're sleeping with me to save yourself the embarrassment, he goes off. He's like, you don't talk about my friends, right. You don't look about my friends, exactly. And you certainly don't condescend upon my friends. Right. Okay, Queenie?
Yes.
Oh my God, he go off on her. He click out
so on her. Mad. He wants her life so bad. Right. It's fully annoying. I kind of feel bad for him, but he wants her life so bad. He hates it. He hates her because she is rich and happy and popular, and he is poor, angry, and I don't know.
Stick to the stuff you know. Your BMW, your dad's credit card, and prom. Okay.
Yeah. He sounds just like him. He sounds like a older man when he talks.
I guess is that a Chicago accent?
I don't know. It almost sounds New York when you. I guess it is. I don't know.
I don't know what a Chicago accent.
I'm not sure
sounds
either.
Like. I feel like it sounds like a New York one.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It sounds like New York. But everyone yells at her. And then we get switched. So Brian says, "You're so conceited." Oh, okay. Brian goes, "You're so conceited, Claire. You're so conceited." He's like, "You want to know why I'm in here?"
I think you want to know why I'm in here.
And he basically says that, him failing shop was going to bring down his GPA because there was no way he was going to get an A.
Yeah.
He
had like an F?
Yeah. He was like, even if he passed everything else, there was no way he was going to get an A. And his grades aren't super important to him. And his parents put a lot of pressure on his grades. For example, when his mom dropped him off, she was like, "You better find a way to do your homework."
Yeah.
Even detention. And so he's like stressed out, and he decided he wanted to kill himself. So he brought a gun to school and it went off in his locker. But then he reveals that it was like a flare gun. And then Andrew starts laughing at him.
He's like, "It's not funny."
And he's like, sorry. But then everyone kind of starts laughing.
Everybody starts laughing.
Yes.
And then Brian starts laughing.
Yeah. Brian's so sweet.
He's so
Brian.
Precious.
Also, I don't know if he should have just got detention.
A flare gun? Like that's like a firecracker.
Right. Okay, but I guess my thing is like, okay, I guess, right. I guess when they say it's like, it's a flare gun, he's trying to cut up. But he thinks he brought an actual gun to school and he was going to kill himself. Wow. While they might not have known he wanted to kill himself, bringing a gun to school,
right,
is a fireable offense.
Right.
I guess he didn't know. I wonder if he did know it was a flare gun or not. I'm assuming he did not know it was a flare gun.
I feel like he actually might have,
because he wanted to kill himself. I don't think he could.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He probably didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think he knew it was a flare gun. And then Allison reveals that she's in detention for what?
She had nothing better to do.
No reason at all.
She just there to be there. She said, "I didn't have anything better to do."
Who is checking the logs? Is Vernon like, why are you here?
Right. You should have a list of who's supposed to be
here. He was like,
and
wait.
she not on the list.
Yeah, exactly. Which is.
Girl said, "Who is checking the logs?"
Okay. And after the ups and downs of the sharing circle,
oh my goodness,
we have the dance sequence.
Right.
What song did they dance to? I didn't write that down. The little side stuff. They're doing like a front and back thing. It's really cool.
Okay, just they dance in the library, and it's iconic. The girls do this little like hip twist, like 1950 thing, and then the dudes are doing like this fist bump dance.
I love it. But after that is over, Bender climbs back into the hole that he came from.
Back into the hole that he came out of.
Yeah, in the attic, and climbs back to the closet. And this is where Claire convinces Brian to write one essay for all of us. Because
if you remember, this is the reason. This is the whole point of the movie.
Yeah,
to write an essay who they are.
And it takes some convincing. Brian's like, "Oh, that's not the assignment." And she's like, "There's no point for us all to write it." And he agrees. Also, don't understand why they thought they could get away with that. If I was Vernon, I'd be like, "LOL, I'll see y'all all next Saturday." Because y'all, I would be like, "Y'all still owe me each 1,000 word paper."
I'd be like, "Y'all been here since 7 a.m. And y'all mean to tell me y'all think y'all gonna get over on me with a paper dedicated to all four of y'all?"
Exactly.
I don't think so.
And when did Brian have time to write this? And I feel like it's 3:00.
Right. It's 2:30 at this point.
And he wrote an 1,000-word essay that's probably delicious from this small snippet that we got that easily. He could have wrote one for everyone if he used his
honestly,
time
I
wisely.
think what we hear him read is it. I think
100%. I'm just saying, from the snippet that we did heard, it sounds like a great essay. I'm saying that he gave it us all in the few time that he had for 1,000 words. And then after Claire, she's just a manipulator. Her after she gets Brian to write the essay, then she convinces Allison to do a makeover.
Yeah, she pulls Allison inside. You know, she wipes all the black eyeliner off of her eyes. She does her eyebrows. She gives her some light eyeliner. She combs her hair. She gives her a
Ugh.
little headband.
I hate Allison's makeover.
I think it's fine.
She looked fine before.
I mean,
Sure,
it's not
clothes
really.
could
It's
have been
not really
different.
her.
It's not her. It's a mini
But
Claire. Like,
I
who's
mean,
this girl?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like she didn't. Where did one second question? Because she changes her outfit. Where are these
Where
clothes
she got
coming
them clothes
from?
from?
Where did she get these clothes from? It's a completely different outfit.
That's true.
And I know she don't own nothing like that in that bag.
Right.
It's a completely different outfit. She looks pretty, but to me, she looked gorgeous before. She's got a face. You can't really see it through all her hair. When you really, there's
Yeah.
one point in the movie she's like looking off. You can just really see her face. She's gorgeous. She didn't really need all that makeup. She was good before.
But of course, once she's done
right.
over, and she walks out with Claire, the big reveal. Everyone sees her makeover, and Andrew is like, looks like he just saw Beyonce. I'm like, he is starstruck. Okay,
Exactly.
He thinks she's like the most gorgeous thing ever. He walks up to her.
I honestly think he liked her the way she looked before too. I think he was into her.
I mean, he probably did, but it's the 80s.
Yes.
So she gets made over. He's like totally into it.
And then Claire goes off to get her man.
Right. Claire's like, it's my turn to get my guts.
She doesn't have to sneak through the attic or the ceiling to do that. She walks over there like a normal human being and goes to visit Bender in the closet. And they kiss. I forgot what they talk about, but
Well, she goes in there and she's like, well, he's very shocked to see her. He's like, "Whoa, what you doing
after all the abuse?"
After all the abuse, first of all, this is an excerpt from Molly Ringwald's New Yorker article.
Let's hear it.
She puts my opinion into perfect, summary. Bender sexually harasses Claire throughout the film.
Yes.
When he's not sexualizing her, he's taking out his rage on her with vicious contempt, calling her pathetic, mocking her as Queenie. It's the rejection that inspires his vitriol. Claire acts dismissively towards him. In a pivotal scene near the end, she predicts that on Monday morning, even though the group has bonded, things will return socially to the status quo. Just bury your head in the sand and wait for your blank prom, he tells her. He never apologizes for any of it, but nonetheless, he gets the girl at the end. This is just astounding to me. She goes after all of this, after all of the harassment. He literally sexually harassed her. Verbally, mentally, physically abused her.
Yeah.
And she still wants him.
Okay. Right. Hindsight 2020.
That's a shame.
But during this movie, there was no way that he was not getting her. There
should have been.
When we watched this movie countless of times, we were like, oh, why did they end up together? We were like, yeah. That was the only obvious reason.
I knew it was always wrong, though.
Did you?
Yes.
There was no way in the history of movies in the 80s that they were not ending up together. I mean, I get it. Looking back now, what the hell? He's verbally abusive. Honestly, if they stayed together,
he's a predator.
Past this movie, she is pregnant. He is run off. Her life is ruined.
Literally.
She dropped out of I don't know, they're senior. She maybe dropped out of high school. She turns to drugs. She's an alcoholic. He's nowhere to be found. Probably dead in the ditch. But that would probably be the accurate if they got together. It probably wouldn't be for the best, honestly, because he's gonna drag her down.
This is textbook example of like the guy who's like mean and rude always gets the girl. Like the douche gets the girl.
He's going to constantly bring up the fact that she's rich. And he's gonna be mad at her for it. I had a boyfriend like that. He was upset with the fact that I'm not even that rich. Upset. I'm not even. We're like middle class.
That girl said, "I'm not even that rich.
I'm not even that rich." He was upset with the fact that my family would pay for stuff. Like he was upset that like our parents paid for college.
Who is this?
I'm gonna say his name, but not Chancellor.
The one. What was his name?
The one. This is unnecessary.
Oh my god, I can't remember his name.
It's fine, but that's how he was. But I'm seeing that in her future. He's gonna be mad at her for things that she did not control and shouldn't be upset with.
Anyway, she walks into the library. She's like shocked to see him. Do they cut to somewhere else before she gives him the diamond earring?
Yeah, so they leave the detention. So she kisses him in the library, and then the next scene is them leaving detention altogether.
And then they kiss.
I mean, honestly, also it's like made in the stars. Like
Is Malala?
the goody two shoe girl has to date the bad guy to piss her parents off.
Oh, he does say that. Oh, yeah, because he's like, you remember how you were saying your parents use each other to get back at each other? Use you to get back at each other?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, wouldn't I be perfect for that scenario?
It's like so cliche. It has to happen.
God. Yeah.
So, and then the next scene is them all leaving detention. It's one big happy Breakfast Club family.
Yeah, Andrew and Allison walk out there holding hands. Bender's got his arm around Claire and Brian. You know, he walking out solo.
Brian's holding his paper. I'm just kidding. I don't know what he's doing.
Brian is carrying his flare gun.
Right. He's happy to have friends.
He's just happy to be here.
Yeah, he's happy to like expand out of his group. He's the best, honestly.
Right.
So then we see Andrew and Allison kissing outside in front of their parents. Weird.
And then the dad's looking like, Andrew's dad's looking like, well, who the hell is that?
And then she takes like his athletic patch off his jacket.
Because she's a klepto.
She's a bit of a klepto. She takes that as like a memento and she leaves with her parents that don't care about her. Mm-hmm. And they both hop in, and then Andrew hops into his dad's car. And then Claire and Bender are making out. And then she gives him one of her diamond earrings. And he puts it in his ear. And they also, were making out in front of their parents, which I don't get.
They're literally kissing right on top of her
on
dad's
the car.
BMW. Like right there.
And then she gives the diamond earring that her dad bought her to this strange man.
Yeah. This
criminal. And then we cut to Vernon in the library. He picks up Brian's essay and then we start to hear Brian's voiceover. He like looks at it, he starts to read it, and then we hear Brian's voiceover explaining how they realized they all share a common experience.
Can we read it again?
Sure.
Okay, so it's the same monologue from the opener. The ending's a little different, but here it goes. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. You see us as the way you want to see us, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. But what we found out that each of one of us is a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely, the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And then we start playing the music. Don't you forget about me. Don't. And then we see John, because John is the only one who didn't get dropped off.
Right.
We see John walk off. He walks past the school onto the football field, and he puts his fist in the air as victory because he got the girl.
He freezes with his fist in the air, and that's the movie's final frame, man.
Yep.
And that is, when you think of Breakfast Club, that is another important scene that you think of, his fist in the air, like, yeah.
His fist bumped to the air because he got the girl.
Forget about me.
And that is how the movie ends.
And that is the Breakfast Club. Woo! Episode number 2 in the books.
You heard?
So, after our analysis, do you still love the Breakfast Club?
Of course. Oh, I meant to ask you this. Who do you think you identify with the most out of the characters?
I'm definitely the burnout.
110%. You mean the basket case?
The basket case. I said burnout, the basket case. I'm Allison to the T. Not to the T. I'm a little more sociable than Allison, but yes, right. I would be Allison.
Definitely.
Minus the crazy tricks that she has.
Right. Minus the kleptomania.
Yeah.
I'm
weird off to the side. I do my own thing.
But other than that, you're 100%.
I'm a middle child, so Allison. I feel that my parents ignore me.
Oh my God, I was gonna say that. It's the middle child syndrome. I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, oh my God, when we talk about the movie, I have to bring up the fact that Allison gets ignored.
Right.
And joins the middle child, so she gets ignored too.
Yes.
Okay, I'm definitely 110% Claire.
Really? You're the popular girl?
Who else would I be?
I guess so.
Thank you. Claire is me. I am Claire. I mean, obviously, I'm not just like how you're not 100% Allison. I'm not 100% Claire.
Yeah.
But if I had to identify with them, it would be Claire.
Who's your favorite Breakfast Club person?
Claire.
Claire's your favorite?
I don't know. I like all of them. I guess could it be like a 3-way tie between John, Claire, and Brian?
John's
Andrew and Allison don't really do much for me.
After all the crap you talking about, John's in your list.
You want to see a picture of a guy with elephantitis of the nuts?
After
He's hilarious.
After you say he should get the girl, he gets your friendship.
He's funny.
Okay. Well, he's gonna bully you too.
I mean, without him, there would really be no plot because
oh my god,
he don't want to come with the drama.
He brought the mess hunty,
Yeah,
the house down boots.
The story would be boring without him.
Yes, my person. I'm sticking with Brian. I like me some Brian. Yeah. He's sweet. I trust him. He's gonna be a lifelong friend
for sure.
Or Andrew. You know, Andrew. I think if he gets up from under his dad wing, he can have the potential not turning into a complete douchebag. He is too finicky. I don't like all that back and forth he was doing. I think he has good traits. I think he has a great personality. As long as he doesn't turn into his dad, he will be a great person. Ugh. He just gotta stay clear of that.
I don't like him.
But yeah,
heterosexual male. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, it's been a pleasure, everyone. We're signing off for the night. Catch us episode 3.
Yeah, don't forget about us.
Like, subscribe.
Did you get my thing?
Follow our Patreon. Just kidding, we don't have a Patreon.
We don't have anything yet, but we'll have that thing. Did you get my thing? I said, don't you forget about me.
What'd you say?
I said, don't you forget about me.
Oh, you said,
because of the movie that we just okay. All right. Adios, guys.
Deuces, booses.
Bye.